People, they always ask me the same question, who was the greatest golfer I ever saw? And I never had one clean answer for that, you know. I mean, I spent my whole life digging a golf swing out of the dirt, hour after hour, alone, nobody watching, nobody applauding. And yet, the 5 men who really stopped me cold, they all had something I could never dig out of any dirt. Talent, ease, a kind of grace I just never owned it. 5 names. That is all I have got. The first one, he was not even someone I competed against. Not really. I was just a kid, you know, caddying, carrying bags for grown men so I could eat. And then Walter Hagen would come through town and everything just stopped. He dressed like he owned the place. He laughed like losing did not exist. I mean, I did not understand any of that growing up the way I did. But something about him, it planted an idea in me that a man could do this for a living. Could actually be somebody doing this. What I remember most, though, it was not the clothes, it was not the laugh, it was his hands. I used to watch him grip a club and think, how does a man's hands just fit a piece of steel like that? Delicate, but powerful at the same time. Like the club was built around his fingers, not the other way around. I never told him that. I do not think I ever told anybody that until now. There was one time, and I think about this more than people would guess, I was sitting near him, just listening, you know, the way young players do. And he was telling a story about some woman, an amateur, asking him to look at her swing before a match. He changed her grip just slightly, opened the face up a touch. She did not believe him. She won anyway. And she came back afterward with a loaf of bread she had baked herself as a thank you. Walter told that story laughing like it was nothing. I never forgot it. Because that was him, completely. Golf and kindness and ease all mixed together like it cost him nothing. I could learn a grip, I could learn a swing plane, a takeaway, all of it. I spent my whole life doing exactly that. But that manner he had, that looseness, I never figured out how to dig that out of the dirt. You cannot practice being Walter Hagen. Believe me, I tried in my own way, just being serious enough, working hard enough to make up for not having it. He is the reason I wanted this life in the first place. I turned out to be built completely different from him. And I think that is exactly why I never forgot him. The second one is different because this was not some man I admired from a distance. This one I knew since I was a boy. We caddied together at the same club back before either of us had a nickel to our name. And the very first time we ever played each other in a caddy tournament, nothing on the line but pride, he beat me by 1 shot. I was, 15 years old, and I remember thinking, I am never going to hear the end of this. And you know what? I never did beat him. Not really. Not when it counted. We would end up tied at the top of a tournament dead even after 4 rounds, and it would come down to a playoff, and somehow, some way, it was always his name on the trophy afterward, not mine. I used to lie awake wondering what that man had that I did not. There's one thing about him, though, that I think about more than any of that. There was a stretch early on where I had nothing, no winnings, no confidence, nothing. And Byron, quietly, no fuss about it, gave me a new driver, just handed it to me like it was nothing. That club is what got me swinging freely off the tee again. I do not think he ever brought it up afterward. That was Byron. He would beat you on Sunday and hand you a driver on Monday, and somehow both of those things came just as naturally to him. What I really envied, though, it was not his swing, not exactly. It was how calm he was inside his own head. I remember him saying once that the secret to winning at Augusta was simple. Just aim for the greens, never get greedy at a dangerous flag. That was it. No fear in it, no second guessing. I fought myself constantly out there. Every round, every shot, Byron just played like the game agreed with him. We drifted apart later on, the way men do when life pulls them in different directions. Him toward his ranch, me toward more tournaments, more practice, more of everything. But I do not think 2 men ever pushed each other harder while smiling about it less and meaning it more. He was the first man who ever beat me, and honestly, he might have been the hardest one to ever really understand. Now, the third one, this is the one people expect me to talk about, because we were rivals my whole life, practically the same age, same era, same tournaments, week after week. But I do not think about Sam as a rival, not really, not when I am honest about it. I think about him as the man who had something I could never buy with practice, talent, pure, natural, unfair talent. I said something once, and it got repeated more than I ever expected, that if you could just screw another head onto that man's shoulders, he would have been the greatest golfer who ever lived. People laughed when they heard that. I was not joking. I meant every word of it. Sam did not know the first thing about the mechanics of a swing, could not explain it to you if his life depended on it, and yet he struck the ball better than anybody I ever stood on a course with. Better than me, and I am not ashamed to say that. I told people more than once, Sam plays golf with instinct, and I played it with my head, and if he'd ever borrowed mine for a season, well, there would only be one name left in the record books, and it would not have been mine. We met in a playoff once at the Masters, and he beat me by a single stroke. I fell apart on the back nine, plain and simple, and he did not. And I remember right there at the presentation afterward saying something kind about him, meaning every word of it, because you cannot fake respect for a swing like that. You either have it or you are lying. That is the thing about Sam that I never told many people. I worked myself half to death, hour after hour, hitting the same shot 10,000 times until my hands bled, and Sam would walk up, take one look at the hole, and just hit it like it was the easiest thing in the world. No effort in it, no struggle. I used to watch him and feel something close to jealousy, if I am being honest with you now. I built my whole game to make up for not having what he had, and I still do not know if it was ever a fair trade. The fourth one, he was not my rival at all. He was just a kid, still an amateur, still wearing that look on his face like he did not quite believe where he was standing. I was well past my best years by then, still grinding it out, still trying to squeeze one more good week out of this body. And they paired me with him at the U.S. Open, and I remember thinking, all right, let us see what all the fuss is about. And I mean, it did not take long to see it. This kid hit the ball like he had no fear of the golf course at all, none. I had spent my whole life being afraid of every blade of grass out there, respecting every hole like it could bite me. He just attacked it. Took the lead right there in the middle of the final round. An amateur, mind you, with grown men who had won championships standing right next to him, and he did not blink. He faded near the end. A couple of putts got away from him coming home, the way it happens to young players, the nerves finally catching up, and somebody else's name went on the trophy that day. Not his, not mine either, if we are being honest. But afterward, reporters came up to me and I think they expected me to be upset being so close and coming up short again, and I told them, do not feel sorry for me. I just played 36 holes with a kid who should have won this thing by 10 shots. I meant it, every word. I do not think I ever paid a young player that kind of compliment before, or since, actually. But I knew what I had just seen. I had spent decades studying this game, decades trying to master it inch by inch. And this kid walked out there with nothing but raw nerve and pure talent, and he nearly took the whole thing in one afternoon. I went home that year knowing something I could not quite say out loud yet. The game was about to belong to somebody else, and I'd gotten to play 18 holes next to him right before it happened. Now, the fifth one, people are going to ask me who in the world that is, because most of them never heard the name, and that is exactly why I need to talk about him. Somebody brought this fellow around to watch him hit balls, some Canadian, and I did not expect anything, honestly. I had seen every kind of swing by then, good ones, ugly ones, everything in between. He hit 6 balls, one right after another, dead straight, every single one. And I said one word, accident. That is all I said, because a ball flying that straight, that many times in a row, that is not something a man does on purpose. Nobody does that on purpose. So he just kept hitting 7, 8, 9 balls straight as a rifle barrel, every one landing on top of the last one practically. And I stood there and I did not say accident anymore. I could not. There was nothing left to call it but what it was. I have thought about that afternoon more than I probably should. I spent my whole life, hour after hour, alone on a range somewhere, trying to build a swing I could trust, a swing that would not betray me under pressure. And here was a man nobody had heard of, with a motion that looked nothing like mine, nothing like anybody's, doing the one thing I valued more than anything else in this game, hitting it dead straight, over and over, like it cost him no thought at all. People later on, younger players, they started saying something about the two of us in the same breath, that only two men ever really owned their golf swing completely, down to the last inch. Him and me. I do not know if I ever fully believed I deserved to be standing next to that name, but I know this, I never told him accident again. So there they are, 5 names, and none of them because of some trophy or some number I could point to. I mean, I could have given you a list like that, but that is not what stayed with me all these years. Walter had ease. Byron had peace inside his own head that I never once found inside mine. Sam had talent he never had to earn. That kid, Nicholas, had nerve I did not think existed in a man that young. And Mo had a kind of truth in his hands that I spent my whole life chasing.